What is the single best path to the top of the career ladder? Joining us for this week's Smith Business Close-Up is Jeff Kudisch, Assistant Dean of Corporate Relations and Managing Director of the Office of Career Services at the University of Maryland's Robert H. Smith School of Business. Dr. Kudisch, thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Jeff.
Is it even possible to plot out a career path these days?
These days, I think it's increasingly difficult. A lot of the executives that come into Smith tell our students it's going to look more like a jungle gym or zigzag paths. It's not a clear path to the top.
What does that work out to be? The jungle gym path means what? You spent a few years doing this and then jumped over to the other side of the industry?
It means that to be realistic from a career perspective, I got to think about lateral moves. Maybe I need to think about moves I wasn't even thinking about, doing something on the side to kind of get into the right direction ultimately and get to where I want to go.
When the big companies used to develop managers, you think about General Electric,
right.
They would do that, right? I mean, they would take somebody with expertise in turbines and maybe not send them as far as the financial services unit, but they wanted people to mingle a bit.
They did, and they're also an example of a company that really values humans as their assets, employees as their assets, and they invest in that. So if you look at GE, Jack Welch's famous saying was that, corporate owns employees, the business units rent them. So in other words, they put a lot of effort into moving people around systematically to grow their careers. But they're probably unique these days. I wish that was the example rather than the exception.
So is that the right strategy for somebody to pursue on their own as they plot their own career?
I really think it is. I mean, I think employees these days need to be very proactive and realize that maybe the company's not going to do it for them. What can they do? So to really think about what are my assets? What are my strengths? Knowing myself and where I want to go, and then who do I need to connect with to get there?
Yeah, the other thing about the top of the ladder, when you think about the pace of change in technology and the economy broadly, is by the time you get there, it's probably not where you thought it was going to be.
True, and I think there's a lot of change, and that's probably for the folks that want to go through career change. Again, it starts with first discovering yourself. Are you flexible and adaptable? If you are, it's okay when those things change. On the other hand, you may not be. So understanding where you're at and then really talking to people in those jobs and learning how they're changing, where's there a fit? So it's more discover and then, kind of figure out what your options are and take action so that you don't find yourself somewhere where it's completely gray and you're not familiar with what's there and you don't like that job.
Are there core skills that you need to have no matter where this path is going to take you? I'm thinking about people skills, technology, sales skills.
Absolutely, and I think what we're hearing today from employers, or if you look overall at the skills that they're looking for, resoundingly it starts with communication skills. Great communication skills, speaking skills, listening skills, writing skills. We know teamwork and cooperation, adaptability, flexibility, being open to others' ideas, probably number two. And then number three is leadership. And when you wrap all that up, they also want quantitative skills and good decision-making skills. But from a career pathing perspective, I think what they're looking for is what are the capabilities, but then beyond that, what are people's aspirations and what's their commitment to the firm? And how do I, as an employee, how do I convey those latter two things in addition to all these great skills?
So bottom line takeaway here for a business person who might be watching, what do they need to think about doing differently?
So I think first of all, it starts with understanding yourself and where you really want to go. What's your value proposition to the firm and making sure that you're relevant. How do you get involved? So if the organization is not going to develop you, what can you do? What associations or trade groups can you get involved with? How do you enlist a mentor or a sponsor in the company that will help kind of move you around? How do they give you exposure to projects, on-the-job projects that will get you exposure to senior leaders? So really being proactive and owning your career development.
Jeff Kudisch joining us from the Robert H. Smith School of Business. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jeff.